Yes, I'm reading from the script, but what can you do? Hey guys, welcome to something that's going to be a little bit different. For a while now on this channel I have been doing video game reviews, and I have somewhat enjoyed most of the games I've reviewed so far, but they've been quite sporadic when it comes to the series of the games that these reviews are done on. However, that's going to be the change this time. I'm just going to focus on one series for a little while and make this a review marathon. Now the question has to be asked, what series is going to be up first? Sonic? Mario? Well, no and no. Those two series will get their own review marathons in due time, but this is not that time. No, I'm going to be doing it on a series that I've played since I was very young. I was born the very same year that this series released, 1996, when it all went down and a huge phenomenon was just about to begin around the world. Still not sure what it is? Well, I'll just tell you. It's still going to this very day, raking in so much money that it's not even funny. The series that gets the review marathon first is, of course, Pokémon. This RPG series has done a lot of things right in its lifespan, and is still doing new things to this present day and age. So I'll start off this review marathon by reviewing the classics that created the phenomenon in the first place, and what it is today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my review of Pokémon Generation 1.
Now, back when this game was all the rage, from then until even the present day, I have never played any copy of the original Generation 1 games, also known as Pokémon Red, Blue and Yellow. It kind of pisses me off inside that I haven't had the original experience from the original Game Boy like others have had before me. But I have played Fire Red ever since it came out, and that'll be the version of the game I'll be reviewing. Of course, I have some Call Me Johnny's review and LP of Generation 1 to help me out and point out what changed between Red and Blue and Fire Red Leaf Green, and I'll also be drawing the stuff that was changed with Gen 2 from there as well. But that's for another time. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get started. So back in the year of 1990, a man by the name of Satoshi Chijiri came up with the original concept of the game. But it wasn't until 1996, my birth year by the way, when Game Freak along with Nintendo and Mr. Tajiri released Pokémon, an RPG that was not only for many people to enjoy, but also to make use of the Game Boy's link cable system. So it was first released in Japan as Pokémon Red and Pokémon Green, and are both the exact same story and characters, but what made them unique was some of the Pokémon that were exclusive in each version, which is still going on to this day in the later games. Since one of the fundamentals of Pokémon was catching all of the Pokémon, this is how the link cable was implemented. See, in each version of the game, you can get up to about a total of 130 Pokémon out of a possible 150. In order to get the rest, you will need to link up with someone with the other version's exclusive Pokémon and get them that way. This was a great idea if you had friends who were just into a Pokémon as much as you were, but if you were all alone, you had to purchase 2 Game Boys, a link cable, and both versions of the games in that set. Later that year, Japan would get a blue version in the same set, which supported updated graphics and bug fixes. And in 1998, overseas fans finally got a red version and a blue version, based off of Japan's blue version of the game. This will later be known as the first generation of Pokémon. So yeah, feel old yet? Anyway, the plot for Generation 1 goes like this. It tells us the story of a young boy who is beginning his journey as a Pokémon trainer. Actually, all generations start out like this, just with a different protagonist. You are free to give this boy a name when the game starts, but this character will eventually be known as Red, because color reference? Anyway, upon starting the game, you're also introduced to your rival, who you can also give a name to. I'm pretty sure if you're watching the anime at the time of playing this game, you would have called him Gary, but he's actually called Blue. I'm not kidding. Red himself is quite the mute and has not much character to him, though it is implied that he can talk and such, but he doesn't interact with anybody with any dialogue. I guess that since this worked for Zelda, then I guess it can work here, where Red is the link between the game and the player, but sometimes I wish that he would just say something. Red may not have much character, but the rest of the world around him certainly has a lot, especially your rival Blue. He tries his best to be an absolute dick, and constantly mocks the very thought of you being any good as a Pokemon trainer. When you begin your journey, you start off in Pallet Town, the hometown of both Red and Blue. As you attempt to leave Pallet Town, Professor Oak, a professor who specializes in the study of Pokemon, immediately stops you. Apparently walking in grass is dangerous because wild Pokemon can leap out at any time and attack a person who doesn't have a Pokemon to defend them with. Wow. I mean, shit. Anyway, Professor Oak is here to give you, and Blue, your first Pokemon. You are free to choose any one of 3, which will determine how difficult your journey will initially begin. I chose Charmander my first time, and apparently he was the most popular choice when the game came out. Huh. As soon as you finish picking your Pokemon, your rival challenges you to your first Pokemon battle. After seeing which Pokemon can tackle better than the other, your journey officially begins as you take your character through many different towns and roads located around Kanto, which is what this region is called. As an up-and-coming Pokemon trainer, it's your job to capture Pokemon and raise them through battling. After each successful battle, your Pokemon will gain experience. With enough experience, your Pokemon will gain a level. After reaching a certain level, some Pokemon can even evolve into much stronger forms. Although there are some Pokemon that can only evolve through special means like elemental stones or trading to another Game Boy. To build up your team, you need to catch some Pokemon. By walking into patches of grass like mentioned before, or by exploring caves, you can randomly encounter wild Pokemon. You catch a Pokemon by throwing a Pokeball at it, which you can purchase at stores located in each town. However, if you want an easier time catching Pokemon, it's best if you bring it down its HB as close to 0 as possible, and then try to catch it. If you succeed, then the Pokemon is yours, but if not, it breaks out of the ball and you have to try again. Even though there are 150 Pokemon to catch in this game, you can only carry 6 at a time. Pokemon come in all sorts of flavors and elemental types. You have fire types, water types, grass types, electric types, poison types, rock types, ground types, ghost types, dragon types, normal types, fighting types, ice types, bug types, flying types, and psychic types. You can even come across Pokemon that have more than one type, leading to their own unique strengths and weaknesses. The key to winning Pokemon battles is all about using the right type of attacks to defeat the opposing type. For instance, if you want to defeat a fire type Pokemon, you should use a Pokemon with water type attacks, like Water Gun or Surf. When you choose the right attack, you can inflict massive damage on the opposing Pokemon, but if you choose the wrong type of attack, you'll either do normal damage or barely scratch it. Each Pokemon type has their corresponding strengths and weaknesses over other types, and if you want to win, you'll need to know when and how to use your Pokemon correctly, because if you don't, you're going to get your ass served on a platter. So hard, even, that when your Pokemon are knocked out, you yourself will black out and you'll lose half your money. Overkill much? Pokemon can learn new moves by different means. They can either learn new abilities by leveling up, or by attaining them through technical machines, or TMs, which you can often find on roads, caves, or rewards for beating gym leaders and whatnot. However, your Pokemon can only have up to 4 moves at a time. If your Pokemon wants to learn a new move but already has 4, then you'll have to replace one of your existing moves, or just not learn the new move to begin with. I find that a bit limited because other RPGs have larger move pools, but not this one. Kinda makes it unique though. Now, even though one of the main draws of Pokemon is attempting to catch them all, in the end, it's simply bragging rights. You don't need to collect all the Pokemon in order to advance the plot. Your primary goal in the plot is to travel all over Kanto and defeat 8 gym leaders located in 8 different locations and then take on the Elite Four at the Indigo Plateau. By defeating a gym leader, you're granted a gym badge, which you need all 8 of to participate in the Pokemon League. Between each town are different roads and routes that contain Pokemon trainers that are craving for a fight. By simply walking into their line of sight, you'll start a battle with them. Sometimes you can avoid trainers by walking around them, but most of the time, their line of sight blocks your path, so you'll have to battle them in order to continue on. When you're not battling Pokemon though, you're exploring the region for Pokemon to catch, caves to explore, items to find, towns to visit, people to meet and talk to, and trainers to battle. Even if you're not an RPG fan or have that much experience in the genre, Pokemon is rather easy to pick up. Whatever items you find goes inside your bag, and you don't have much space to begin with, and when you start filling it up, it's easy for it to become cluttered. Later generations will fix this, by the way, so this pain is only really temporary. Your journey overall is quite the large one, but it shouldn't take you more than around 12 to 15 hours to beat the main quest. That's an average for people who have experience with this, by the way. If you don't, then it may take longer than that. Each town and key location brings something new to the journey. Pallet Town, your hometown, it's just your house, your rival's house, and Professor Oak's lab. How is that a town, by the way? Viridian City is pretty much the same, but here is where you're introduced to Pokemon Centers. Hospitals that heal your injured Pokemon for free. Now that there is awesome. Free healthcare. But why does it cost money to buy healing items and stuff from the Pokemon? There's also a gym here, but it's inaccessible. After Viridian City, we have Viridian Forest, where you encounter your first batch of Pokemon trainers. It's actually a nice place to level up your Pokemon for the journey up ahead, since all the Pokemon here can barely defend themselves. This is also where you can catch a Pikachu, who will become the mascot for the entire franchise. After that we have Pewter City, the place where you can score your first gym badge. The gym leader here is Brock, who specializes in Rock-type Pokemon. If you chose Bulbasaur or Squirtle, then you won't have a problem here, but if you chose Charmander, you may want to raise a Caterpie from Viridian Forest and evolve it into a Butterfree. Just a little tip. Between Pewter City and the next town is the cave in Mount Moon, aka Zubat Central. Since it is a cave, you'll have a fair amount of encounters, and most of the time, it's Zubat. This is also where you'll meet Team Rocket for the first time, an evil organization that uses Pokemon not only for profit, but also for world domination. One extreme to the other. Following the Rocket's first defeat lies Cerulean City, where you can earn your second gym badge from Misty, who specializes in Water-type Pokemon. And she will smash you if you're not prepared. This is such a great place for a Pikachu to battle, since they make really short work out of a Pokemon. Just beyond Cerulean City awaits Vermilion City, where you can catch a ride on the cruise ship, the SS Anne, to battle more Pokemon trainers, and learn your first hidden machine, HM, move, Cut. You see, throughout your journey, your character will come across natural obstacles like trees that'll block your path, or dark caves you need to light up. In order to bypass them, you'll need specific moves that your Pokemon will need to learn, but before that, you need to make sure that you have the corresponding gym badge in order to use that specific move in the first place. Even then, only specific types of Pokemon can learn them. Some of these HMs do not make too much sense since we live in a world where we can cut trees with knives and light up caves with a torch, but some actually do make sense, like strength to move boulders around, or fly to quickly visit previously explored towns. Now HMs are permanent and are required to beat the game, but they're not all bad. Strength makes for a good physical attack, and Surf, besides letting you swim across the ocean and other sources of water, is one of the best water-type moves in the game. Continuing on, the third gym leader is Lieutenant Surge, who specializes in electric-type Pokemon. Surge is not really that hard, but the maze in your way of getting to battle him is a real pain. It's a luck-based game, where you have to pick the 2 correct trash cans in order to face him, which really can break the immersion real quick. Before you can get into the next town, you have to make a detour to Rock Tunnel, because there's a big Pokemon that blocks one route, and thirsty gatekeepers are blocking the other. Rock Tunnel was always an area that I regretted going to. Like Mount Moon, Rock Tunnel consists of a lot of random encounters, and there are plenty of pathways that lead to dead ends, in addition to a bunch of trainers. Immediately following Rock Tunnel comes Lavender Town, along with its faithful companion, Severe Mood Swing. Besides supporting the creepiest and most depressing town theme in the entire game, and the franchise for that matter, the place is just one giant cemetery. It's here where you can find out that Pokemon can actually die, and this is the place where they are buried. Now don't worry, your Pokemon won't actually die in the game, but having the very concept of that looming over you in a town like this makes Lavender Town just downright unsettling. Located in Lavender Town is the Pokémon Tower, where memorial services are held for Pokémon that have passed away. And guess what? You can battle Pokémon here! Much respect for the dead. It's also here where you can encounter ghosts. No, not the Ghost Regiment or Ghost-type Pokémon, just ghosts. These guys will actually cause all of your Pokémon to freeze in terror. In order to bypass them, you'll need the Silph Scope, which you can get in the next town, Celadon City. This place is just one big shopping center that contains just about everything one needs to make the journey all a bit easier. In other words, break time! Here you can buy healing items, contribute in compulsive gambling, buying vitamins for stat raising, elemental stones for evolution, more compulsive gambling, and very expensive drinks. No wonder the gatekeepers are thirsty. There is also a building here where you can score a free Eevee, which you can evolve by means of elemental stones. The gym leader here is Erica, who looks like a pothead. Just saying. Moving on, it's here where we can encounter Team Rocket again, and also meet their leader, Giovanni, for the first time. Anyway, he's really not that hard to beat. After beating him, you get the Silph Scope, which you can use to help in exploring the rest of the Pokemon Tower, and also in to identify those ghosts from earlier. After dealing with the afterlife, we can head to Saffron City, after giving those gatekeepers any expensive drink. In order to face the gym leader here, we need to take care of Team Rocket once and for all inside the Silph Co. HQ. Once again, this ends in a face-off with Giovanni and defeating him again. Why are these guys trouble again? Oh yeah, they steal and kill Pokemon. Anyway, Saffron City's gym leader is Sabrina, who, despite saying she's against violence, is a gym leader. Guessing that was a translation error. Sabrina specializes in Psychic-type Pokemon, the best type in Generation 1. If I remember correctly, I believe that this was fixed in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but back in Generation 1, these guys had little to no weaknesses, and their special moves packed a punch. Apparently it had something to do with the coding, leading to this type accidentally getting such a power boost. So in this generation, Generation 1, they were basically the Gamebreakers. After travelling down the long and unnecessary bicycle road, we can head into Fuchsia City, home of the Safari Zone, and the gym leader Koga, who specialises in the Poison type, with Koga not really being much of a challenge, thanks to the Psychic type. The real attraction here is the Safari Zone, where you can catch some rare Pokemon with specialised Safari Pokeballs. One problem with this though, is that you can't use your Pokemon here. You have to rely on rocks and bait, which almost never work, and sometimes outright miss the Pokemon, which was also fixed in Fire Red and Leaf Green. The last city to visit is Cinnabar Island, which you can get to easily by surfing south from Pallet Town. Supposedly Cinnabar Island is one giant volcano, but I don't know, in both red, blue and yellow, as well as Fire Red and Leaf Green, it looks like a regular island to me. Besides hosting the 7th gym, this is also the location of the Pokemon Mansion, which you need to explore in order to gain access to the gym. The gym leader here in Cinnabar Island is Blaine, who specialises in Fire-type Pokemon. Honestly, if you got here to Cinnabar Island, you would most likely have a Water type that is more than capable of defeating him. The final gym leader is back in Viridian City, who turned out to be none other than Giovanni himself. Once again, you curve stomp him, causing him to disband Team Rocket forever. An entire criminal organization defeated by the hands of an 11-year-old. Only in Pokemon. With all 8 gym badges, you can take this time to catch some legendary Pokemon, like Zapdos located in the power plant, or Articuno in the Seafoam Islands. This is also where you can spend some time doing some glitches, if you're into that type of thing, and only in Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow. Like Glitch City, which is merely cosmetic, or exploiting the game's code to catch Mew, even though you're not supposed to be able to catch it. There's also Missing No, who I'm sure most of you know about, even if you aren't a fan of Pokemon. I mean, it looks like a messed up Tetris piece. It even duplicates the 6th item in your inventory, so you could possibly get infinite Master Balls, the best Pokeball in the game, or rare candies to level up your Pokemon extremely fast. Anyway, let's finish this journey. The entrance to the Indigo Plateau is located to the left of Viridian City, but before that, you need to trek through Victory Road, the final cave area in the game. To be honest, it's not really that bad. Yeah, the boulder pushy can get a bit annoying in conjunction with random encounters, but if you stocked up on max revives, which nullify random encounters for a brief period of time, it's actually kind of a breeze. The final 4 trainers you have to face are known as the Elite Four, each specializing in a specific type. There's Lorelei, who's fond of ice types, Bruno, who loves fighting types, Agatha, who uses ghost types, and finally Lance, who specializes in the rare dragon type. Besides using all the skills you've learned up to this point, you need to defeat all 4 of these guys with no Pokemon Center break in between. After defeating Lance, however, it turns out there's one more challenger to face. Your rival Blue, complete with a kick-ass battle theme. As a final boss, Blue definitely puts up the most challenge, but hey, if you got this far, you should be able to beat him. Good luck! By defeating your rival, you're stated as the Pokemon League champion, where your winning team is inducted into the Pokemon Hall of Fame. But wait a minute, there's actually one more place to visit after completing the game. The Cerulean Cave, or the Unknown Cave in Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow, just located to the left of Cerulean City. You couldn't access this place beforehand because some dude wouldn't let you in. But hey, you can go into it now. The Cerulean Cave actually changes layout, if I remember correctly, between Red, Blue and Yellow to Fire Red and Leaf Green, and it contains the strongest Pokemon you can catch in the wild. Like level 67 Dittos, level 65 Chanseys, level 54 Wigglytuffs, etc. But the main attraction is, of course, without a doubt, the most powerful Pokemon in the game. Mewtwo, a genetically engineered Pokemon that has a bad attitude. If you want to catch this guy, you better be prepared for the fight of your life. Mewtwo can take one hell of a beating, and it can heal itself. You better have a lot of Pokeballs on standby, or use your one-of-a-kind Master Ball. And that's Pokemon Generation 1, people. As I mentioned before, Pokemon Red and Blue, as an RPG, it's very easy to pick up, but if you're looking for something deep and immersive, this generation won't hold you for very long, because the future games do so much better a job. Unless you're going to do some competitive battling via link cable, which I'd highly doubt at this point in time, Generation 1 should only really be approached by those who want to see how this phenomenon started in the first place. Now that I remember, Pokemon Yellow is just an expansion of Red and Blue with the influences of the anime. For instance, when you begin your journey, you're given a Pikachu to start off with, and it's always following you around. This makes getting your first gym badge a bit of a challenge, because Pikachu is pretty crap against Rock-type Pokemon. Because of this, the start of Pokemon Yellow can drag a bit, but at the same time can also teach you the importance of relying on other Pokemon to win different battles, and not just one single Pokemon. All the artwork of the Pokemon have been updated in this version to look a little less ugly, so that's something. Your journey in general is also a little different, and if you play your cards right, you can obtain all 3 starter Pokemon from Pokemon Red and Blue. In addition to that, Jessie and Jane from Team Rocket were also added, usually in areas that you were already fighting a lot of Rocket Grunts anyway. Overall, Pokemon Yellow is often considered the complete version of the first generation games. While Pokemon Yellow still supports the problems that are in Red and Blue, if you want the definitive first generation experience, you play this game. Or you play either of these two, Pokemon Fire Red or Pokemon Leaf Green. These 2 remakes were released at various times in 2004, and are actually part of Generation 3. But since they are remakes of the first generation games, I thought I'd bring them attention to them now rather than in a separate review. These remakes were created for the Game Boy Advance, and due to this, the Kanto region and everything in it has been updated superbly and is now in full support of all sorts of colours, considering the original didn't support any colour at all. It's amazing how much everything has changed, and even all the sprites for Pokemon and even other trainers have changed and updated as well. The story as a whole hasn't changed, which is great for Pokemon enthusiasts and newcomers alike. When this game was released, it came with a new wireless adapter that replaced the link cable. It had a good amount of range, but it wasn't the best. Goodbye link cable, you have done well, but now you have to be replaced. I'm pretty sure that some games for the GameCube use this as a feature of connectivity, but I can't remember which ones. Oh well. I almost forgot about the music in both of these games. It's really great stuff. There are a few music tracks that resemble the area in which you are located really well, like Lavender Town, and some of these tunes are really great to listen to while bopping your head in time with the beats. Some tracks also build up the necessary tension and of course get you pumped up for the journey and or battle up ahead. In the end, Fire Red and Leaf Green are pretty much the same as their predecessors, but with little extra details and features. This may change the replay value of these games, but not by too much. Fire Red was one of the games I replayed a lot, and I still do to this very day, but I don't do it nearly as much as I used to. But I guess that's what happens when you get older.
Anyway, next time in the Pokémon Review Marathon, we're actually going into the second generation with my first Pokémon game, Pokémon Gold, Silver and Crystal for the Game Boy Color, and the remakes, Pokémon Heart Gold and Soul Silver for the Nintendo DS. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This has been Mario Man 2100. You guys have a great day and night, and of course, take care.
Unnecessary bicycle road, we can head into Fuchsia City, home of the Safari Zone, and the gym leader Koga, who specializes in the poison type. With Koga not really being much of a challenge, thanks to the Psychic Cope, so you could possibly get infinite Master Balls, the best Pokemon in the game, or rare candies to level up your Pokemon extremely fast.